Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6. Today we are starting new chapter, chapter 18. Diti vows to kill King Indra. Indra is always in trouble. Sometimes Vritrasura is trying to kill him. Now Diti is trying to kill him. Let's see what happened. Next one. Shri Shukuvacha Prishnistu Patni Savitu Savitrim Vyahritim Traim Agnihotram Pashum Somam Chatur Masyam Mahamakhan. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Prishni, who was the wife of Savita, the fifth of the 12 sons of Aditi, gave birth to 3 daughters, Savitri, Vyahriti, and Tri. And the sons named Agnihotra, Pashu, Soma, Chaturmasya, and the 5 Mahayajnas. So Prishni was the wife of Savita, the 5th of the 12 sons of Aditi. So Aditi, if we remember, it was in the 6th chapter of 6th canto. They're the sons of Aditi and Diti were mentioned. So Aditi is the mother of all the demigods, and Diti is the mother of demons. And they both are married to the same Kashyap Rishi. So Diti, earlier we read in 3rd canto, she gave birth to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha was killed in 3rd canto by Lord Varahdeva. And then the story went somewhere else because Vidurji asked different questions to Maitreya Muni. And now it is coming back to the same family and different sons and daughters. So earlier we studied how Diti gave birth to Vishwarupa. Somehow Diti gave birth to Rachna. Rachna married Tvashta, and they gave birth to Vishwarupa. So Rachna was from the demoniac side, and Tvashta was a rishi from demigod side. But so Vishwarupa had connection with both. So Indra killed Vishwarupa because Indra had committed offense against Brihaspati by not paying obeisances, paying respects to him. And then the demigods lost. They fight against the Asuras. So he was told, go take shelter of Vishwarupa, and Vishwarupa will give you Narayan Kavach, and then Vishwarupa will do the yajna. And Indra agreed. Indra got the Narayan Kavach, and then in the yajna he saw Vishwarupa was making offerings on behalf of demons also, in behalf of demigods and demons. So he killed Vishwarupa. Then Tvashta got angry at Indra. So why did you kill my son, who was a Brahman, who was a spiritual master? So he produced Vritrasura to kill Indra. But in the process, Indra and all the demigods, they went to the Dichi Muni, got his bones for the Vajra, and then he killed Vritrasura. So we studied that story. And then the story of Maharaj Chitraketu. Now going back to the descendants of Aditi and Diti. So Prishni, who was a wife of Savita, the fifth of the 12 sons of Aditi, gave birth to 3 daughters, Savitri, Vyahriti, and Tri. And the sons named Agnihotra, Pashu, Soma, Chaturmasya, and the 5 Mahayajnas. Siddhar Bhagasya Bharyanga Mahimanam Vibhum Prabhum Ashisham Cha Vararoham Kanyam prasuta suvritam. O King Siddhi, who was the wife of Bhaga, the sixth son of Aditi, bore three sons named Mahima, Vibhu, and Prabhu, and one extremely beautiful daughter whose name was Ashi. Dhatu kuhu sinivali, Raka chanumatis sayam darsham ath prata, purnamasam anukrima, agnin purishya nadhatta kriyayam samanantara, charshani varunasya siddhasyam jato bhrigu punaha. Dhata, the seventh son of Aditi, had four wives named Kuhu, Sinivali, Raka, and Anumati. These wives begot four sons named Sayam, Darsha, Prata, and Purnamasa, respectively. Purnamas. The wife of Vidhata, the eighth son of Aditi, was named Kriya. In her, Vidhata begot the five fire gods named the Purishyas. The wife of Varuna, the ninth son of Aditi, was named Charshani. Bhrigu, the son of Brahma, took birth again in her womb. So somehow Bhrigu Rishi again took birth in the womb of Charshani. Valmikishcha Mahayogi Valmikad Bhavat Kila Agastyascha Vasisthascha Mitra Varuna Yor Rishi. By the semen of Varuna, the great mystic Valmiki took birth from an ant hill. Bhrigu and Valmiki were specific sons of Varuna, whereas Agastya and Vashishta rishis were the common sons of Varuna and Mitra, the 10th son of Aditi. So Agastya and Vashishta were the common sons of Varuna and Mitra. I don't know the whole story behind this, but maybe some Purana has more details. Reta Sishi Chatuh Kumbhe Urvashya Sannidho Dhrutam Revatya Mitra Utasargam Arishtam Vipalam Vidhat. Upon seeing Urvashi, the celestial society girl, both Mitra and Varuna discharged semen, which they preserved in an earthen pot. The two sons, Agastya and Vashishta, later appeared from that pot, and they were therefore the common sons of Mitra and Varuna. Mitra begot three sons in the womb of his wife, whose name was Revati. Their names was Utsarga, Arishta, and Pipal. So this test tube babies were done long ago by the sages. Modern science is trying to generate living entities in test tubes by processing semen, but even long ago it was possible for semen kept in a pot to develop into a child. And even 5,000 years ago, when during this Mahabharata time, when Gandhari was pregnant, and Kunti was also pregnant at the same time. Kunti was in the forest, Gandhari was in the kingdom, in Hastinapur, in the palace. And Kunti gave birth to Yudhishthir before Gandhari did. So Gandhari, when she heard that a son is already born of Kunti, who's the elder son of the Kuru dynasty, then she struck her womb. And then the baby was not born. It was a miscarriage. I don't know which rishi was coming by, but it was Vedvyas or Durvasa. I don't know which rishi. So he came by and he was told the story, but he said, no, this boy has to be born, or the boys have to be born. The story has to go on of Mahabharata. So he took that piece of flesh, which was dead now, and he cut up in 100 pieces and put them in 100 different parts.
Prabhuji, Dwai Paina. I think.
Dvaipayan Vyas.
Dvaipayan.
So that is Vyas. That is Vyasadev, nothing. Or I don't know, Dvaipayan, maybe Dvaipayan. So he cut up the flesh in 100 pieces, put them in 100 pots, and later on 100 sons were born, and the eldest was Duryodhana. So, yes, Siddhartha Prabhu, you have a question or comment?
No, Prabhu.
So this technique has been there. Of course, now scientists are trying to figure out in a better way how to do that, or in their own way. But the sages could do these kind of miracles. Olomyamindra adhatta trina putran iti nashutam jayantam rishabam tata tritiyam medusham prabhu. O King Parikshit, Indra, the king of the heavenly planets and 11th son of Aditi, begot 3 sons named Jayant, Rishab, and Medush, in the womb of his wife Paulomi. Thus we have heard. Urukramasya devasya maya vamana rupina kirto patanyam brihat shlokas tasyasan sobhagadaya. By his own potency, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has multifarious potencies, appeared in the form of a dwarf as Urukram, the 12th son of Aditi. In the womb of his wife, whose name was Kirti, he begot one son named Brihat Shloka, who had many sons headed by Sobhak. So Urukram was Vamandev, and he appeared as younger brother of Indra. So Indra was the 11th son of Aditi, and Urukram of Vamandev appeared as the 12th son. So that's why he is also known as Upendra, means one who is younger to Indra. As Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Ajopi Sannavyaya, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead incarnates, it does not need any help from the external energy, for he appears as he is by his own potency. The spiritual potency is also called Maya. It is said, Ato Maya Mayam Vishnum Pravadanti Manishina. The body accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Maya Maya. This does not mean that he is formed of the external energy. This Maya refers to his internal potency. So the Lord, although appeared as the 12th son of Aditi, but he is still the Supreme Lord. He is transcendental. And then he begot son through his wife Kirti, his name Brihat Shloka. Tat karma guna viryani kashyapasya mahatmanaha pashad vakshyam ahe adityam rithava vatataraha. Later in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall describe how Urukram, Lord Vamandev, appeared as a son of the great sage Kashyap, and how he covered the 3 worlds with 3 steps. I shall describe the uncommon activities he performed, his qualities, his power, and how he took birth from the womb of Aditi. So because of his uncommon activities, he's called Urukram, because he did wonderful pastimes. Of course, here Prabhupada added in the 8th canto, but Shukdev Goswami said later I shall describe. At Kashyap Padaya Dan Daitayan Kirtayamite Yatra Bhagavata Shriman Prahado Balirevacha. Praharado. Now let me describe the sons of Diti, who were begotten by Kashyap but who became demons. In this demoniac family, the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj appeared, and Bali Maharaj also appeared in that family. The demons are technically known as Daityas because they proceeded from the womb of Diti. Okay, in the shloka, it says Praharado, but the translation Prabhat gives, and it is also very popular, as Prahlad. So I had asked this question, and they said they both are same. It's the same name. It just don't know why was it called Praharad instead of Prahlad. Ditere dvavev dayado datyar danavandito hiranyakashipur nama hiranyakshascha kirtito. First, the two sons named Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha took birth from Diti's womb. Both of them were very powerful and were worshipped by Daityas and Danavas. Hiranyakashipur bharya Kayadhura nama Danavi Jambhasya tanya satu Sushave chaturah sutam Samhadam pragnuhadam Adam prahadam evacha Tatasvasa Singhika Nama Rahum Viprichito Agrahit. The wife of Hiranyakashipu was known as Kayadhu. She was the daughter of Jambha and the descendant of Danu. So that's why she was comes in as a Danav, descendant of Danu. She gave birth to 4 consecutive sons known as Samhalad, Anuhulad, Halad, and Prahlad. The sister of these 4 sons was known as Simhika. She married the demon named Viprachit and gave birth to another demon named Rahu. So this is our dear friend Rahu, who sits in anybody's horoscope and it messes it up. Shiro aharadhyasya harisha chakrena pibato amritam samhadasya kritir bharya sut panch janam tataha. While Rahu in disguise was drinking nectar among the demigods, the Supreme Personality of God had severed his head. The wife of Samhalad was named Kriti. By union with Samhalad, Kriti gave birth to a son named Panchajan. Hadasya dham anir bharya sutavat pimilvalam yo agastyaya Twatithe peche vata milvalaha. The wife of Halad was named Dhamani. She gave birth to 2 sons named Vatapi and Ilval. When Agastya Muni became Ilval's guest, so Ilval, they were all Daityas. Ilval served him a feast by cooking Vatapi, who was in the shape of a ram. So these demons, they always do crazy stuff. So these are brothers, Vatapi and Ilval, and son of Halad and Dhamani. So basically cousins of Prahlad Maharaj. And when Agastya Muni became Ilval's guest, so see, the rishis are very simple-hearted. Ilval, although he was a demon, but he invited Agastya Muni for prasad. So, and this is explained in detail in Ramayana. So Agastya Muni became his guest. So Ilval, what did he do? Him and his brother Vatapi, they had some mystical, magical powers. So Vatapi took the form of a ram and Ilval cooked him and fed him to Agastya Rishi. What they used to do, like this, now Vatapi would go in whatever form in the body of this Rishi, and then he had some more mystical powers that he would combine himself, connect himself again in the stomach, and then he would burst out, and that way they would kill the Muni or Rishi, and they would be very happy. This was the pastime. Anuhadasya suryayam bashkulo maheshastata virochanastu prahadir devyam tasyam badbalim valhi. The wife of Anulad was named Surya. She gave birth to 2 sons named Bashkal and Mahish. Prahlad had one son, Virochan, whose wife gave birth to Bali Maharaj. Bana jeshtam putra shatam ashnayam tato bhavat. Tasyanubhavam sushlokyam paschat deva vidhasyate. Thereafter, Bali Maharaj begot 100 sons in the womb of Ashna. Of these 100 sons, King Bana was the eldest. The activities of Bali Maharaj, which are very laudable, will be described later in the 8th canto. And this Bana became a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Bana aradhya girisham lebhe tad gan mukhyatam yat parshave bhagwan naste hiyadyapi purpalakaha. Since King Bana was a great worshipper of Lord Shiva, he became one of Lord Shiva's most celebrated associates. Even now, Lord Shiva protects King Bana's capital and always stands beside him. So we'll read about this Banasur in 10th canto, how he came, he challenged Krishna. Actually, he pleased Lord Shiva by playing on Mridang when Lord Shiva was dancing. And Lord Shiva got very pleased with him. So then he asked for, give me 100 or 1,000. Shat means 100. Okay. So 100 arms. So with all these arms, I want to play on the mridanga and when you dance, and I want to please you. Lord Shiva, being Shiva, is Ashutosh. He gets pleased very soon. So he says, so be it. So now he got 100 arms. So when he was not playing on the mridang for Lord Shiva, now he's an asura, so he was very powerful, and with all these 100 arms, he would do all the mischief and kill so many people and regularly have wars. Then one day he came to Lord Shiva. He said, see, I got this itch in my arms. I want to fight with somebody powerful. So why don't you fight with me? Lord Shiva was like, I gave you these arms. I'm not going to fight with you and cut off these arms. He said, okay, I'm not the right candidate, but very powerful enemy will come and you will fight with him and he'll cut off your arms. And Banasur was very happy. Okay, at least finally I'll find somebody who will match my strength. And then he challenged Krishna. And Krishna sent his Sudarshan Chakra, cut off 98 arms of Banasur, left two arms. And he didn't kill Banasur because Lord Shiva also came on the battlefield. And so Krishna said, okay, just because you have come, I'm not going to kill him, but you go back to your city and don't come out again. So all these asuras, they had just different ideas. Instead of serving, instead of just getting a mood to serve, even if you serve Lord Shiva, he's the greatest devotee, you'll get so much of benefit. But this is not what they want to do. And in the end, they all get defeated. They all get killed or defeated. But still, they don't learn their lesson. Marutascha ditehe putrash chatvarinch navadhikaha ta asanna prajaha sarve nita indrena sahatmatam. The 49 Marut demigods were also born from the womb of Diti. None of them had sons. Although they were born of Diti, King Indra gave them a position as demigods. So that's another anomaly here. 49 Marut. And they were born from Diti, but they were called demigods. Evidently, even demons can be elevated to positions as demigods when their atheistic character is reformed. There are two kinds of men throughout the universe. Those who are Devotees of Lord Vishnu are called demigods, and those who are just the opposite are called demons. So this we have studied in Bhagavad Gita also. So there are only two categories of people, demons or demigods. Now we have to decide where we want to be. Even the demons can be transformed into demigods, as a statement of this verse proves. Shri Raja Vacha Katham ta asuram bhavam apoyot pattikam guru Indrena prapita satmayam kim tat sadhu kritam hite. King Parikshit inquired, my dear Lord, due to their birth, the 49 Maruts must have been obsessed with the demonic mentality. Why did Indra, the king of heaven, convert them into demigods? Did they perform any rituals or pious activities? Excuse me. So Maharaj Parikshit was surprised. How come they became demigods? Ime Shradhate Brahman Rishyo hi mayas Parigyanaya Bhagwans Tanno Vyakhyatum Arhasi. My dear Brahman, I and all the sages present with me are eager to know about this. Therefore, great soul, kindly explain to us the reason. Text 22. Shri Sutvacha Tad Vishnu Ratasya Sabhadarayane Vacho Nishamya Adritam Alpam Arthavat Sabhajayam Samnimbritena Chetasa Jagad Satrayana Sarva Darshana. Shri Suta Goswami said, O great sage Shonak, after hearing Maharaj Parikshit speak respectfully and briefly on topics essential to hear, Shukdev Goswami, who was well aware of everything, praised his endeavor with great pleasure and replied. Maharaj Parikshit's question was very much appreciated by Shukdev Goswami because although it was composed of a small number of words, it contained meaningful inquiries about how the sons of Diti, although born as demons, became demigods. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stresses that even though Diti was very envious, her heart was purified because of a devotional attitude. Another significant topic is that although Kashyap Muni was a learned scholar and was advanced in spiritual consciousness, he nonetheless fell victim to the inducement of his beautiful wife. All these questions were posed in a small number of words, and therefore Shukdev Goswami very much appreciated Maharaj Parikshit's inquiry. So this whole thing is going back to when Diti and Kashyap Muni were in that hut or hermitage, and then Diti developed lusty desires, and she held on to the dhoti of Kashyap Muni. In the third canto it is explained, and Kashyap Muni tried to tell her, no, this is the time when Lord Shiva goes in the sky, and it is a wrong time for progeny, but she didn't listen. And they had the union, and at that time, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they were conceived. And when they were conceived, only when they were conceived, there was so much of darkness in the whole universe, because these two boys were coming and they were going to be great demons. And we studied all the story, how the demigods went to Lord Brahma, why there is so much of darkness. Brahmaji told them the story of Jay and Vijay. So many stories, they're all interlinked. And now it's coming back to same. It just took few cantos to come back to the same story. So that was in the beginning of third canto, then third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, end of sixth canto. Of course, when Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are sitting and talking, it must have been maybe one day or maybe 1.5 days, whatever. Shri Shukuvacha Hataputraditi Shakra Parshani Grahena Vishnuna Manyuna Shokadiptena Jwalanti Parichintayat. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, just to help Indra, Lord Vishnu killed the two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Because of their being killed, their mother Diti, overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, contemplated as follows. So it is said in the previous verse, Diti was very envious. Envious because her sister Aditi was having all these wonderful children as demigods. And Diti was envious that how come they are getting all these powers. So she wanted to have children who were more powerful. But because she was envious, her children would be daityas, demons. So here it is said, Indra, to help Indra, Lord Vishnu killed the two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Of course, in the story, only Hiranyaksha is killed, Hiranyakashipu will be killed later on. But obviously, the story is not in a chronological order. So Diti was very upset with Indra, very angry. That's why the chapters is Diti vows to kill King Indra, because she was like, he is responsible for the death of my very nice and innocent boys, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. For the mother, the boys are always her sons are very innocent, sweet, and they don't do any mischiefs. Kadanu bhratri hantaram indriya ramam ulbanam agne hridayam papam vihaititva shaya sukham. Lord Indra, who is very much fond of sense gratification, has killed the two brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, by means of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Indra is cruel, hard-hearted, and sinful. When will I, having killed him, rest with a pacified mind? So she was very, very angry that Indra, and she is telling Indra is fond of sense gratification. Her sons were named Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu means one who is fond of gold and soft bed. And Hiranyaksha also, gold and all the senses are always want gold. Gold means money. But just like any other mother, she won't find faults with her sons. Indra is the one who's bad. And she was like, when will I, having killed him, rest with a pacified mind? When will that day come? Krimi vid bhashma samgyasit yasye shabi hitasya cha bhut dhrik tat krite swartham kim ved nirayo yataha. When dead, the bodies of all the rulers known as kings and great leaders will be transformed into worms, stool, or ashes. If one enviously kills others for the protection of such a body, does he actually know the true interest of life? Certainly he does not, for if one is envious of other entities, he surely goes to hell. And she is thinking like that. Although she is envious, but she is thinking if one is envious of other entities, he surely goes to hell. The material body, even if possessed by a great king, is ultimately transformed into either stool, worms, or ashes. So ashes when we cremate the body, worms when we bury the body, and stool when we throw the body for the vultures to eat. When one is too attached to the bodily conception of life, he is certainly not very intelligent. Ashasanasya tasyedam dhruvam unnad chetasaha madhashoshak indrasya bhuyadyen suto hime. Diti thought, Indra considers his body eternal, and thus he has become unrestrained. I therefore wish to have a son who can remove Indra's madness. Let me adopt some means to help me in this. One who is in the bodily conception of life is compared in the Shastras to animals like cows and asses. Diti wanted to punish Indra, who had become like a lower animal. See, even position of Indra, it's not very safe and secure and not something somebody with some intelligence should look forward to. Always somebody is plotting something against him, and somebody is attacking him, and he has to do so much of work. He's a leader of the demigods. So he has to face the music all the time. And now Diti wants to kill him. Twashta wanted to kill him. And there's so many other places he gets into trouble. Yes, he is a demigod. Demigod means in the mode of passion and goodness also, but passion so means he wants to enjoy his senses. That's what the people in the heavenly planets do. So, but at the same time, he has to lead the demigods. He has to make sure everything is going on okay in the heavenly planets. And he has to fight with all these demons and now Diti also. Iti bhavena sabharto acharas priyam shushruya anuragena prashrena damena cha bhaktya paramaya rajan mano gyar valgu bhashita mano jagraha bhavagya sasmita pang vikshana. Thinking in this way, with a desire for his son to kill Indra, Diti began constantly acting to satisfy Kashyap by her pleasing behavior. O King, Diti always carried out Kashyap's orders very faithfully, as he desired. With service, love, humility, and control, with words spoken very sweetly to satisfy her husband, and with smiles and glances at him, Diti attracted his mind and brought it under her control. Wow. So this doesn't only happen here on earth, it happens everywhere. When a woman wants to endear herself to her husband and make him very faithful, she must try to please him in all respects. When the husband is pleased with his wife, the wife can receive all necessities, ornaments, and full satisfaction for her senses. Herein, this is indicated by the behavior of Diti. So Kashyap Muni did not inquire what's behind all this service and the pleasing behavior. His mind was completely brought under her control. Evam striya jadi bhuto vidvan api manogyaya balamitya vivisho nata chitram hi yoshiti. Although Kashyap Muni was a learned scholar, he was captivated by Diti's artificial behavior, which brought him under her control. Therefore, he assured his wife that he would fulfill her desires. Such a promise by a husband is not at all astonishing. Also, one more thing we have to understand, just like in the story of Mother Parvati cursing Chitraketu, this is also orchestrated by the Lord himself. Kashyap Muni, being a learned scholar, and he already had another wife, Aditi, who was mother of all the demigods. But now a different turn has to happen in the story. So Lord had to make all these arrangements also. Vilokya kant bhutani bhutanyado prajapati striyam chakre dehardam yaya punsam matir rita. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma, the father of the living entities of the universe, saw that all the living entities were unattached. To increase population, he then created women from the better half of man's body. For women's behavior carries away man's mind. So this is how it has been going on since the beginning of time, beginning of creation. So woman's behavior carries away a man's mind. Always happens. This entire universe, and in fact, I mean, what to speak of in the material universe? Even Srimati Radha Rani controls Krishna completely. We all say Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She controls him completely. And with what? Just a glance, kataksha. And what glance? Not even full, 1/4 of the glance. This is how it's explained by the Acharyas. Just 1/4 of the glance. And then Krishna just cannot control himself. This entire universe is going on under the spell of sexual attachment, which was created by Lord Brahma to increase the population of the entire universe, not only in human society, but also in other species. As stated by Rishabdev in 5th canto, Pumsa Striya Mithuni Bhava Metam. The entire world is going on under the spell of sexual attraction and desire between man and woman. When man and woman unite, the hard knot of this attraction becomes increasingly tight, and thus a man is implicated in the materialistic way of life. This is the illusion of the material world. This illusion acted upon Kashyap Muni, although he was very learned and advanced in spiritual knowledge. As stated in Manu Sahita, Matra Susradhitrava, a man should not associate with a woman in a solitary place, not even with his mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they lead astray even a person advanced in knowledge. So not even with his mother, sister, or daughter. Obviously, man means not a boy, not a little boy, but when he's adult, he should not. That's how strict the scriptures are. Not for anything else, but for the senses are so strong that his senses, his mind can go here and there. And it says, even a person, it can lead astray, even a person advanced in knowledge. So what to speak of a person who has no practice of controlling his senses? When a man remains in a solitary place with a woman, his sexual desires undoubtedly increase. Therefore, the words ekanta bhutani, which are used here, indicate that to avoid sexual desires, one should avoid the company of women as far as possible. Sexual desire is so powerful that one is saturated with it if he stays in a solitary place with any woman, even his mother, daughter, or sister. So strict the scriptures are. And this strictness is for our benefit only. Because ultimate goal is to make advancement spiritually, not to get entangled in all these material relationships. Evam shushrushit tastata bhagwan kashyapasya prahasya parambrito diti mahabhinandya cha. O my dear one, the most powerful sage Kashyap, being extremely pleased by the mild behavior of his wife Diti, smiled and spoke to her as follows. Shri Kashyap uvacha, varam vare vamoru, pritaste amanindite, striya bhartari suprite kah kam ihacha gavaha. Kashyap Muni said, O beautiful woman, O irreproachable lady, since I am very much pleased by your behavior, you may ask me for any benediction you want. If a husband is pleased, what desires are difficult for his wife to obtain, either in this world or in the next, and especially if the husband is of the caliber of Kashyap Muni. He can give anything to his wife. Patirevi narinam devatam paramam smritam manasah sarvabhutanam vasudeva shriya patihi sa eva devata lingar nama rupa vikalpita ijjate bhagwan pumbhihi stribhishcha patirupadrik. A husband is the supreme demigod for a woman. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vasudeva, the husband of the goddess of fortune, is situated in everyone's heart and is worshipped through the various names and forms of the demigods by fruitive workers. Similarly, a husband represents the Lord as the object of worship for a woman. Pati Parameshwar, that's why it is called. But it's not that Pati can do all sorts of nonsense things and still, of course, the chaste wives, they always treat their husbands like that. But ideally, it should be the ideal situation where there is mutual love and respect between husband and wife. And the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. The demigods are various assistants who act like the hands and legs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is not in direct touch with the Supreme Lord and cannot conceive of the exalted position of the Lord is sometimes advised to worship the demigods as various parts of the Lord. If women who are usually very much attached to their husbands worship their husbands as representatives of Vasudeva, the women benefit, just as Ajamil benefited by calling for Narayan, his son. Ajamil was concerned with his son, but because of his attachment to the name of Narayan, he attained salvation simply by chanting that name. In India, a husband is still called Pati Guru, the husband, spiritual master. If husband and wife are attached to one another for advancement in Krishna consciousness, their relationship of cooperation is very effective for such advancement. Although the names of Indra and Agni are sometimes uttered in Vedic mantras, Indraya Swaha, Agnaya Swaha, the Vedic sacrifices are actually performed for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. As long as one is very much attached to material sense gratification, the worship of the demigods or the worship of one's husband is recommended. So the husband is a supreme demigod for a woman because he is the one who's maintaining her, he's the one bringing all the things that she needs or she desires. Of course, now Matajis are also working, and so then it becomes very controversial. But this is a story when ladies did not work outside the house. They didn't have jobs. And definitely this is not the story of any Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada talks about the demigod worship. So ultimately one should worship the Lord. It's not the demigods. But in material terms, husband is like a demigod for his wife. Tasmat pativrata narya shreyas kama sumadhyame yajante anya bhavena patim atmanamishwaram. My dear wife, whose body is so beautiful, your waist being thin, a conscientious wife should be chaste and should abide by the orders of her husband. She should very devoutly worship her husband as a representative of Vasudeva. So aham tvayarchito bhadre idrig bhaven bhaktitah tam te sampadaye kamam asatinam sudurlabham. My dear gentle wife, because you have worshipped me with great devotion, considering me a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I shall reward you by fulfilling your desires, which are unobtainable for an unchaste wife. He's saying, because you are very chaste, so I can fulfill your desires. What do you want? So so now Diti will start speaking. So I guess we can stop here and take this up tomorrow. See, anybody has any questions or comments? Yes, Siddhartha.
Hare Krishna, Puji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I think in this Kali Yuga, few things cannot be applied as you mentioned that nowadays Mataji also working. So I think only in Krishna conscious uh, couple can manage that because they know it. Because generally it is not applicable here.
Not applicable in what way? What do you mean?
Means if a person is not Krishna conscious,
Mm-hmm.
that wives are considering husband as a spiritual master. That is only applicable if a person is practicing Krishna conscious, is a person is reading scriptures and he is taking knowledge from there. Then he can apply that in his or her life.
Yeah, but this is like a tradition, a Vedic tradition. So even in marriages where they are not into bhakti, but as a tradition, the wife still regards her husband like that. But the problem is, like you said, um, everything has gone topsy turvy. Husband is supposed to take care of his wife spiritually, materially, physically, emotionally, financially, everywhere. And then yes, he can be called Pati Parmeshwar. But that thing is not happening. And the husband, because he's physically stronger, then they just take advantage of the situation. But at the same time, now with so many laws in different countries, women are also taking advantage, big time.
Right.
So Kali Yuga means it's all messed up.
Yes, Prabhuji. In fact, wives are independent, so they don't think like that. That somebody is taking care of us or somebody is maintaining because we can do it by our own. So I think only some transactional relationships where we need something from our spouse. That's why we are in the same house. Or if somebody has kids, so maybe the sake of kids, uh, we are uh, we are in the same house. Or if we need physical, then we are together. Otherwise, there are no such compulsion
Yeah,
or
yeah, but the problem is, even if well, Matajis are educated and they have good jobs, working and leading nice financially life, but the problem is the emotions are still there. Emotional need is still there. So even if
yes,
they want to live alone, that's why in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun says, men will take advantage of women. There are so many men are going to be killed in this battlefield and the women are left behind in their homes, and there will be some men who will take advantage of this women. And this is what happens also. And that's why he was worried about Varna Sankar, the unwanted progeny. See, finances and independence are not just the whole thing. Emotional, taking care of emotionally, physically, and just being together socially. That those needs are also there.
Yes, correct.
But we are blindly trying to follow the Western countries, and it's a messed up situation here. Why follow something which is messed up?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as a wife, this lifetime, you should, this is my, I wanted your comments on this and what is the scriptures want in this regard. So as a woman in this lifetime, if we are surrendered to our bhakti, puja, or my husband, should our aim not be to serve them very properly and get the next life and go back to Godhead, or is it that in this lifetime we can get a life where we can get go back to Godhead? Actually, it means, is it like we have to get another birth again so that we can get go back to Godhead, or we can do this lifetime only by serving our husband or our guru and our spiritual master and Krishna? So how is it? Means for a woman, what should be the aim this lifetime? Because I totally understand what all Shastra means. I totally believe in it and totally realizes it that whatever the Shastra says is right, and a woman should be surrendered and she should depend on, even though we are independent, we are working, there are certain things that we should be submissive to a husband and to a spiritual master. So how in that
See, Mataji, I'm not the right person to answer this question because I myself have gone through divorce. So, I'm not a cutout for that relationship question. But from whatever I have studied and understood Prabhupada's books, in this lifetime, only one can go back. And one means both husband, wife, man, woman, or anybody. This is what Prabhupada has given in his books. I know sometimes I have heard this also, that no, you have to take birth as a man and then you can go back. But Prabhupada never said anywhere. I have never studied it, Prabhupada's books. So now how to go back? How to go back is to develop devotion service, perform devotion service, develop love for Krishna. It's simple as that. In the process, if somebody is married, having wife, having husband, children, having a family, yes, one has to take care of the husband and children and the family in whichever way it's required. It's so simple. It's not like if I fight with my wife or my husband and try to chant and think I'm making progress, how am I making progress if I cannot even put up with the person I'm going to spend the life with? How am I going to make progress? Sometimes the situation is very intolerable. That's a different story. But to not let the situation come to that point, both husband and wife, it's not the duty of one person only. Both husband and wife, they are responsible to make the relationship work. Howsoever, everybody is intelligent. They have to sit down and they have to chalk out the differences. Differences are always going to be there, and how they can work it out, how to make it work, and there are many advanced, senior, Vanprastha devotees are there who can guide these grihasthas. Many devotees are there who can guide very nicely, listening to the both sides of the story and being very practical. And regarding the devotional service, yes, one has to carry on, one has to continue, do very nicely services, especially the chanting part. But at the same time, we have to understand let it grow gradually. Let the bhakti grow gradually. Because faster we jump into it, faster we jump out of it also. I've seen that. Because the mind, it takes long time to get used to. So, and faster we try to become very serious and very advanced devotees, the mind will start playing games after a while, and then we stop both, and then we lose both on family side and spiritual side as well. So no need to do that. Yes, one can make progress so much that one can go back home, back to God within one lifetime. But if we let the bhakti grow gradually, let Krishna make the situation how he wants us to proceed, instead of us jumping into any conclusions. And if he has made the situation that such and such person is my husband or my wife and the children and the in-laws, I'm pretty sure he has something in mind when he puts us in that kind of situation. So let's make the best use of it. Let's try to serve everybody as best as we can. And thinking this is what Krishna has given. This is Krishna Prasad. So I have to honor it properly.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
That is my understanding. I'm not the expert, as I said.
No problem, Prabhuji, but that is really very helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mata. Okay, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.